This is my Biobrick production line overview, and it is not the best build, but hopefully it will help people because making fuel is annoying as heck, and I spent so much time grabbing grass and combining it with limestone to make Biobrick, where I said no more, and I finally devoted a couple hours to building this so I never have to touch grass again. I'm playing this game, so literally and figuratively. Alright, so there's two components to this build. Number one is the limestone extraction, and then number two is the plant matter production. I am not converting kindlevine extract into limestone because I figured this would be way faster, so why not? And so what I did was I found a vein of limestone, and that's where I built my build. You can find these everywhere. You can look at the map to go identify it. You can just zoom in and be like, oh, that's some limestone. It's gold for some reason. Anyways, I have 3 extractors. They are grabbing the limestone. I have fast arms. You can use whatever arms you want. And then I have these extractors putting it onto this conveyor belt. And then it is being split here in between these 2 storage units. So they are being used at a pretty decent rate once I kind of even this flow out. And so I don't think it'll over accumulate. And then from here, it's feeding it into the production line where it's going to make the Biobrick. I'll show that in a bit. Now for the refueling, this is the finished product. I am producing Biobrick at a pretty good clip here, and it's enough to fuel extraction of copper and iron for now. So we are splitting it. That goes down to the miners. This will go up here and refuel my extractors for the limestone. Now this is very goofy because I did not have the foresight to realize I needed space for refueling, and that's why it's so goofy looking. But you know what? If it works, it works. So as you can see, it's being split here. This comes down here, and I'm using 2 auto arms at a 90-degree angle. Same over here, except it's a long arm, and the same here as well. I call them auto arms because that's what they're called in the Astroneer. Alright, that's pretty much the limestone phase. Why don't we go over the plant matter? Alright, so you will need some kindlevine seed as a starter. I have a storage container here. You drop the seeds in here. Now what I have here are 2 arms that are taking it out, and they're being split here because I like symmetry, and that's why the threshers throw me off because you cannot build them in a symmetrical fashion, and I hate it. Anyways, they're grabbing the seeds and putting it on this belt, and these arms will grab it and then put it into the planter when it's empty. Now as a quality of life change here, I have an arm grabbing the seeds that are not used and then putting it back into the container. You really don't need fast arms here. I could delete one of them and change it to a regular arm. But I left it there because at the time I was overproducing because I put in materials into the production line. Alright, so that is the planter phase. Now here it's taking the materials and putting it into a buffer storage container. You don't really need this for this part because you will never overproduce. But I put it here to arrange my base just a little bit cleaner. And so I have long arms grabbing the input in here and then putting it into the threshers. And the threshers are producing sticks. Now I have the selector arm here. It's grabbing the sticks and then putting it further into the production line. Whereas this arm is grabbing the seed and then putting it back here so that it can be planted. It's the same thing happening here because you want to keep replanting those seeds. Alright, from here we see the sticks coming out and it's going again into a storage buffer. Now this one is necessary because you're producing a lot of sticks. And even if it wasn't, it's just mainly to make sure that my base has some sort of symmetry to it. Again, we got the long arms grabbing the sticks and putting it into another thresher. And from here, we see the plant matter fiber and kindlevine extract coming out. Now, if you want, you could turn the kindlevine extract into limestone by using a smelter. What I have here is I'm grabbing it from all the outputs because you will see here it'll clog up here. So I am trying to use fast arms if I could, but instead I'm just going to use selector arms because if you use fast arms, it'll only grab one product. So I want it split evenly. So these guys are putting on the conveyor belt, and then they're going here, and I split it into 2 separate conveyor belts so I can load it into this storage container quickly. And then I have selector arms grabbing the plant matter fiber and putting it into an assembler to turn it into plant matter. And then this is being offloaded. Again, put it into another storage container where it's going to be spread out, and this is not accumulating, so I'm underproducing plant matter, so I can increase production here. Now this is being split evenly, and it's going into 2 assemblers making Biobrick. Now here, we see the limestone from earlier, and it's being split as evenly as possible, and I have 1 fast arm loading plant matter, and I have 2 fast arms loading the limestone, so that I kind of maintain the ratios. It's supposed to be 25 to 50, and so I kind of want it entering the assembler at the same rate. And then we have the Biobrick coming out, and it's being stored into this container as a buffer, and from here it's being fed into my production line again, and then from here it goes out and it's being fed into my extractors. Now I am overproducing Biobrick, so I can add more extractors to the production line if I want to. And here I have 1 belt going down, and then I have long arms grabbing it to refuel the extractors and the smelters. Again, using that little trick of 90 degrees for using 2 arms. So I have a long arm grabbing it and then putting it into the extractor. Alright, so that's it. If you guys have difficulty making any production line, if you're trying to make the blue research orbs or the CPU, it's going to be pretty complicated, and let me tell you, if you don't want to stress yourself out, I would highly recommend using the calculator tool. I will link it in the comments and in the description. If you take a look, you just select what you want to make, and it'll give you a brief outline of how to make that production line. It's a very handy tool. You don't have to use it. I also like kind of like freestyling and eyeballing, you know, my production line, seeing, oh, where is the choke point? Do I need to add more arms here? Do I need to split the conveyor belt here? And kind of figuring out, you know, what I can do to make my production line better. Anyways, that's it. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer it. And hopefully this helps somebody. Alright, that's gonna be it. I'll catch you guys next time. And hopefully you never touch grass again, at least in this game.